It's time for the Techthusiasm Live podcast!
That's what I call an entrance.
Time to go live.
Boom. And there we are. Welcome, folks. Another hopefully fun intro to the Monday evening, afternoon, 5 o'clock Techthusiasm Live podcast. So we'll chat about a few different things today. Welcome, everybody coming in and joining as we get started here. Hello, right off the bat to Julius, of course. Welcome, welcome. So a lot of things going on around plans, work, the system. It's actually scrambling this afternoon a little bit, trying to do everything that I needed to do and also deal with some of the still ongoing concerns of the living room project, which is we've hit a snag. And the snag, it keeps getting more complex, unfortunately. So we'll talk a little bit about that. If anybody has topics, questions, comments, and things as well. Talk a little bit about what I've been doing with the AI stuff as well, at least just a couple of statements about it. I figure I might end up making a separate video kind of just to make a statement of intent around what I've been doing with that stuff. But in any case, yeah, we're here. So again, everybody welcome as you're coming in. Please say hello. Let me know who's out there and let me know what's going on. What you've been doing in your systems, in your home theaters lately. You planning anything? What does Q4 have in store for you with your systems and your setup? So let's see. For me, of course, it's been 2 weeks since we've kind of chatted on the live stream about project status and progress and all of that. Of course, last week we had special guest Chris Shaw from Focal on with us predominantly talking about the architectural speakers, the 1000 series stuff, the utopias and things that I'm putting into the theater. So if you'd like to see a hopefully very useful and detailed conversation about those speakers and speaker lines and stuff, definitely check out the stream from last Monday. So as it is, I'm out of vlogs, so we're up to vlog number 7, which published, I think, late last week. It might have been Thursday or Friday. I forget which day I put it live. And that basically took us all the way up through dry insulation, drywall, paint prep, and all of that. And so the wall has sat in the same state basically since then now for a couple of weeks. And no fault to the contractor or anything. It's just the situation. The situation has added complexity. So our big fundamental problem is that we added depth to the wall, of course, which was mentioned in the vlogs and stuff. So we defaced everything. We always knew that we were going to be taking down the extra deep bump out section and stuff at the top of the wall. And part of the discussion when we kind of conceived of everything was, well, let's add some overall depth now that the wall is going to be straight up and down all the way. Let's add some overall depth so that we can kind of cover future TV choices. It doesn't always have to be a 1-inch deep television like the LG G2. Other TVs, Sony's, the TCLs can be like 2 inches, 2¼ inches, maybe even more deep. And so with the prior depth of the wall, those deeper televisions kind of hang out of the cubby. Doesn't really look right. It doesn't look encased. It doesn't look enveloped really the right way. So, and we knew adding depth was going to change the trim. So if we hadn't changed any of the depth at all, other than bringing less depth into the wall, the 3 pieces of baseboard trim, the 2 on the sides and the 1 long piece in the front, and then up above the crown molding across the front, the width was never changing. That's fine. The crown on the sides, we were going less deep there, so that could have been cut off and it could have all been mated and everything. Well, by adding depth, we needed larger baseboard trim pieces for the sides than we actually had, than what came off by only 1.5 inches, very, very minuscule. And of course, looking back on the original construction of our home, we had a contractor, a general contractor that we worked with to build the house. It was custom architecture, custom build, stuff like that. And he had his regular suppliers, Man's Lumber, and a couple other local lumber yards where we could have picked out those materials and whatnot. But we ended up going for a lot of wood products from a mill in Pennsylvania. Allegheny Woodworks, I think is the name of it. And so we sourced all of our baseboard, all of our crown molding, all of our door casing and trim, all the window casing and trim, all of our doors themselves. We got like solid maple wood doors. We were really going for like full wood, core wood products. We didn't want to use MDFs and those types of materials and stuff. And so, particularly with the doors, sourcing them from a mill that made solid wood doors made sense to just get all the trim and all the materials from there. Well, now it's 12 years later, and when you need the materials that were available over a decade ago from a specialty lumber source, they don't necessarily have it anymore. Things have changed, sizes, the procurement, their suppliers, and then with other changes, I think, in supply chain and economy, small orders are just not doable. You need like, okay, you're going to order something, you're going to need like hundreds of feet and all of this stuff. And like, we literally need like not even 2 feet of baseboard trim. And we had a bunch of material left over from the original construction. We've kept it in our mechanical room where our furnace and stuff is. So we actually have like 4 7-foot pieces of crown molding. And we have a bunch of other like disparate wood pieces and stuff that were left over. We have a lot of floorboards, the hickory floorboards and stuff that we used. We don't have a single piece of baseboard. So, or for that matter, to come to think of it, I don't think we have the casing. I don't think we have casing either. So if we ever need that again. So then the question has been, well, what do we do now that we need extra deep baseboard on the side, and it's a specific profile that came from this place, and we can't get that thing anymore. We can't get a small batch order of the same thing anymore. So the guys were like, well, no problem. We'll try to get a close match, and it's only 1.5 inches. We'll try to get something to fit in the back against the wall. It'll be obscured, maybe hopefully not really notice and whatnot. And that just wasn't working as well. And then we were debating, well, if you do a 1.5 inch fit on either side, maybe we should do a 3-inch fit on one side, the one side where you see it a lot less, and then the other side where it's more in the walkway where it's visible. We make sure to use they can piece the 2 other pieces together that came off to get the full length that we would need there. And then today we're like, well, you know what, actually, why don't we grab a piece of baseboard out of a closet? There's baseboard trim in the closets. And so in our front hall closet, we opened it up, we took the stuff out, and sure enough, we had built-in shelving structure and units, just like when I did the vlogs about putting the projector on the shelves behind me. All of those built-ins, we did built-ins through all the closets in the house when we originally constructed. But in the back, there's still a piece of the same baseboard trim, and that piece was long enough. If we cut it, we could get the 2 sections out of it. Okay, this is great. This is working awesome. And it's a closet. So if we put a close but not exactly the same piece of trim down in the back of a closet, who really cares? As long as it's finished and stuff, it's totally fine. So we're like, okay, great. This will be perfect. The living room, we won't have to piecemeal anything together in the living room. It'll look nice from all sides and all angles. And so they did that. They knocked the trim. They pulled a piece of trim out of the closet, started prepping and stuff to do that. And then they came in to put those on and then restore the front piece back up, which should have been completely reusable because it's the same. The overall wall is the same width. We only added to the depth. And in the weeks since that trim was originally taken off, it's been, I think this is week 4 now, actually, of the project. It warped and it wasn't fitting back on properly. And so they were trying to figure out if they could get it back on and how would it go and what would happen there. And it just wasn't taking. So then they tried to say, well, maybe we can cut some of the worst pieces that had warped and use some of the extra from the closet. And it wasn't enough and it wasn't coming together. And so after overcoming the big problem that really kind of led to a bit of a stuck point and a week delay, now we're like triply in trouble because this 120 inch, this 10-foot wide piece of trim is now defunct. And how are we going to fix that? Where are we going to get? We can't just pull more baseboard from more areas of the house, or go around to all the rooms and pull stuff out of all the different closets and make a mess out of everything. So um we were trying to come up with a solution, and so one idea, the contractor called around and tried to find basically a mill in the area, Detroit area, that could take a piece of trim, scan it, and then reproduce it. They had the machines, they had the lathes, whatever, the millwork, to be able to replicate replicate a piece of trim. They found one. He actually took it down there, almost an hour drive to get to the place, and comes back. The quote that we got back to do this, to actually make the 10-foot long piece of crown and the 10-foot long baseboard, which for the front of both sections, was $1,400 for two pieces of wood, custom scanned and custom milled to size and fit and shape and contour and all of that. Technically, we don't really need to do that for the crown, because again, we have 4 7-foot pieces that one of those pieces can get cut for the two side pieces, no problem. And then of course 7 times 2 is 14. We only need 10-foot span, so they could seam the crown in the middle, and seaming trim in a very visible spot isn't ideal, but sometimes it needs to happen. There actually was already a seam in the crown originally to begin with that was visible and whatever. And it was actually that instead of seaming in the middle, the original builder, the original trim guys, they seamed it off to the right. So it was really not kind of in balance. But in this case, we'll seam it right in the middle. Even if you can see it, it'll feel like it's balanced in the there. So I'm like, all right, well, what if we don't have them custom make a piece of crown? We'll just use the pieces and we'll seam it, and just make the base. And it's still the crown was bigger, so it was a little bit bigger of a chunk of the $1,300 but it wasn't all of it. So it's still $650 for one piece of wood. And I'm just like, God, I really don't want to pay this. But even the price isn't the hardest thing to take. The delay, the lead time for the order is 4 to 5 weeks. So, and nothing else will transpire while we wait for this trim. So that means the living room the wall is left unfinished, unpainted, unusable for tech and system setup for over a month. It means that we have a Halloween party, annual Halloween party that we always host for friends and family and stuff coming, and I would like to have the system online for that. I was planning to do an open house, like Techthusiasm Expo. I did one last fall. Had a bunch of people come by and stuff, demo the systems and that, and I want to be able to demo both systems, not just the theater, but the living room setup as well. So, like, oh man, we can't. So it would leave the wall unfinished, the system unfinished for both of those events. And then now we're already getting towards like Thanksgiving, which always a debate. May we host, may we not host? I don't know, depending on what my wife's family is doing. It's like, man, come on. So now I'm stuck, and it's like, so I need to talk to I ran out of time. This was scheduled, and I didn't have enough time to call around and try to find a solution. My wife was coming and going between one kiddo's activity to take him and bring him back, and then leave with my daughter again for her activity. So we couldn't sit down and discuss what could be done. But like, I really want this thing finished this week. I really want on Sunday to be installing televisions and speakers and connecting the system up and having it usable and having it work. And so I still don't know actually for sure how many days of painting we have ahead of us. If it's 1, if it's 2, if it's 3, it's probably more than 1. So my thought now is that we just need to find an alternative trim. And so in my opinion, this is what I'm going to try to sell to my wife. we should go to one of the local supply stores, go to Man's or one of the other local lumber place, and see what do you have in stock that has a nice profile that feels like it naturally meshes with what's already there and is probably taller. So I was actually looking. Man's has a couple of trim profiles that are like 7.25 inches tall. The existing trim is 5.5 inches tall. So if we get something that's a little thicker, like 3/4 inch thick, the current trim is 5/8. We get something that's a little taller, then the sidewalls can just, it doesn't have to be cut on an angle or whatever and matched up. The sidewall trim, the existing trim can just terminate into the newer, bigger, thicker trim that cases goes around the foot of the bump out of the TV wall. And I don't think it will look terrible. I think maybe some folks may find it that like, if you have a preference that like, I don't know, do you have two different types of baseboard in a room? Does it clash? Does it look bad? Does it look okay when they're serving specific purposes? The fact that this is a pronounced focal point element of the room, this big bump out is hanging forward, and it's big, it's tall, it's big in the room, looms in the room. Well, it could have thicker 7-inch base, kind of giving it a bigger foot, holding it up, so to speak, or like visually kind of standing up against the size of the thing. So, and then that solves the problem of trying to meet up the corners with pieces of trim that don't actually match, and the existing stuff again can just where right now the existing stuff is already cut on an angle to match, but it could just be cut straight and it'll fit right in. They'll bump right up against each other, caulk it all, seal it all up, and that's it. So they have like, looking at a couple of the profiles that like that I think it was Man's was showing in stock. They have one that's kind of really just like a flat block. Yeah, 3/4 by 7 and 3/4 by 7.25. Then there's another one. Ours kind of has like these bumpy kind of like ridges and stuff to them. I don't know if that's like a Victorian look or whatever, but they also, a Man's also has a couple of those where they're flat, except for like the top inch, maybe inch and a half, which would be plenty. Uh, which would be plenty of height that the current trim could still terminate. So if the new trim is going in and the contoured piece is up here, and from here down it's flat, the old trim would come in and mate into it below where the special contouring is, and it would mate into the flat section of the new trim. And I have to imagine that we need like 12 foot. I need like one 12-foot trim board. And if these lumber places have the stuff in stock, we could go buy one 12-foot board. They can cut it. They can get the 7/8 inch, the two 7/8 inch pieces that they need for the sides. They can get the 10-foot piece that they need for the front. And that's going to be like what is regular price. An existing piece of in stock poplar trim has got to cost less than $5 a foot, maybe $3 a foot, less than that. I don't know what the prices to expect are, but even still, if it's $3 a foot, we're talking $40, less than $40 instead of $650, let alone $1,400, and we could have this thing tomorrow. And so they could come back. Best case scenario, maybe we could get it. They could come back tomorrow afternoon. They could come back Wednesday, finish the trim work, get everything done and set, and then maybe the painter's best case scenario, the painter's painting on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, get done. Let me get these speakers in and move on, because I've got other things that I want to get to now that are kind of waiting in the wings. New agendas. If you saw some of my teaser posts, I have new agendas that I really want to get to with some channel activity and business activity and stuff like that. So, man, all of this literally for a couple inches of baseboard trim. It really is frustrating. First world problem, but it's just like, I mean, I'm not like stressed out about it or whatever. It'll all get done in time. We just got to figure it out. We just need a solution. It's like, man, of all the stuff we had left over, how did we just not even have like 2 feet of that stuff? however many hundreds of feet of trim boards were used all around the house and all of the extra. How did we not have the excess? But the problem is, even if we would have had the couple of pieces to go on the sides, we still would have been the original big 10-foot long faceboard would not have worked going back on. So what do you think? What would you do? What would you do, and what would your spouse accept if you were doing a renovation project? Would you accept? Would the spousal acceptance factor, largely probably the wife acceptance factor, would they accept different trim, different baseboards in the same room, meeting up to each other? Curious what folks might have to say on that. So Scott's saying, yeah, if you got that route, yeah, by more than you need for future reno changes. So yeah, now I'm really concerned, because it's like, man, if we ever lose, something happens and we ever need more trim, we ever need more casing, and after this, if we ever need more crown, we're it'll have to be changed. We're done with the extra material. Well, let me rephrase that. We'll have one more 7-foot span of crown. They'll end up using 3 of the 4 boards. So but welcome Terminator. Yeah, crown molding is a pain. Yep. And we use this really big molding too. It's like 7, yeah, it 7 1/4, whatever, 7 1/2, something like that tall. It looks very nice. It stands out. We liked the big crown, and I think that was one of the things, actually, if I recall correctly, when we did the original material selection. I think they offered us this trim because it was a closeout at the time. They were like changing profiles, and they had a bunch of remaining stock of this profile that they weren't planning to make any mill anymore or whatever. And so we got a good deal on it, on the crown originally. But the other confusing thing is, like, if I actually go to their webpage, they have the stuff, they have the same materials they're showing as available. But you just can't order. And then again, with the change in suppliers and the way the economies of scale and stuff is going, their shipping is expensive, moving the stuff around. Like, everything's expensive. Everything's a hassle. And so, yeah, we're just stuck. Julius, yeah, another trim definitely makes sense. That's what I would do. As soon as he texted me the quote, because like I said, they were over here, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to run. He actually asked me, he's like, is this something that you could do? Can you run this piece over there? I'm like, I'm sorry, not today. Another day, maybe, but I'd have to take more vacation for this. And I've got meetings that I need to attend to. I need to work this afternoon. And so he made the run graciously. I appreciate that. And then he texted me the quote, and I was like, Jesus, $1,400. And in 5 to 6 weeks lead time. Like, man, if this was if they could have just made that piece of baseboard and he could have brought it back and continued the project today, I don't know. I might have just like swallowed hard and sucked it up and wrote the check just to get the base and keep going and keep things consistent and stuff. But again, 5 weeks is gonna eat into other plans, and we've got less than now 2 weeks to Halloween. So I'd really like to have the system together for our Halloween party, and then I need to get moving on to other stuff and planning the get together for November and stuff like that. So I was getting excited too. Like yesterday, I had the I had the Utopias out, and I was like getting ready because I needed to tell them, you know what, they're going to go. They'll cut the speaker holes and stuff to where I tell them, and to spec and so on. So I had the stuff laid out. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to plug these together. And I was watching the videos and just making sure that I had the right instructions in mind for what the hookup is going to be between the subwoofer module and the speaker itself. And then I was wondering as well, like another kind of side effect of this is how high above the baseboard did I want the bottom of the subwoofer to be? Because if we go too high, that really starts to push the speaker high. Like the speaker's already going to be higher than the top of the speaker is already going to be higher than the television, but that Utopia speaker is like almost 4 feet tall itself. The subwoofer module is almost 2 feet tall itself. Together, they're close to like 70 inches, 68, 79 inches tall in a combined unit. So if we go higher on the baseboard and then I clear the baseboard by 3-4 inches. Now the bottom of the speaker is going to be, the bottom of the subwoofer is going to be like a foot off the floor, rather than with the 5.5-inch trim. If I went like 3.5 inches, we would have been 9 inches. The bottom of the sub would have been 9 inches off the floor. Now we're going to be 12. It pushes everything higher, but I think that will still be okay. I had the tape measure out and I was looking, and even still, the center of because the Utopia is so small, and I appreciate as well that they put the tweeter in the middle of the speaker. As I was talking with Chris last week, and I was kind of giving my feedback about, these are the things I really like about this speaker line. I like the cohesiveness of it. I like how they're all the same width, so the cutouts work. If you upgrade, you only have to cut taller. Well, one of the things that I appreciate about their models, the bigger in-wall models like that, is the tweeters in the middle. It's not at the top of the speaker. So for me, in my integration cases, it's a lot easier to integrate, I think, an in-wall. Probably for a lot of folks as well, I would have to imagine. You're putting it behind a screen, you're centering it, etc. You want the tweeter and an in-wall to be in the middle, and so that helps work there. Scott saying, for sure, another trim if you can, pull and not damage from another less visible area. Yeah. So the problem now is, though, if we were to raid another spot of the house for baseboard, it was great. It was perfect. It was like the perfect idea for the closet. I didn't conceive of it as well. Somebody mentioned it to me. I think that I was talking to. I don't remember where or what I got that feedback from. It might have actually been somebody in the comments of one of the vlogs. Might have been in the comment of the last vlog. Somewhere, somehow, the idea of grabbing the piece of trim from the closet got seated in my head, and it wasn't an original thought. It came from somebody's suggestion. But we need a 10-foot. Now we need a 10-foot span, and I don't think we don't have anywhere that we can pull a 10-foot span from, or we would need multiple 5-foot spans, and even that's going to be hard to achieve. I'm just trying to think, like, in our closets and stuff. My son has a big double door closet, and it's wide, but it has built-ins that are built up against the drywall in the back, so the trim is not one big piece. Our fourth bedroom, which nobody uses, has a big double door closet in it, but again, that one has built-ins, and so the back piece of trim in the back of the closet is not the full width of the closet. So I don't think there's anywhere else inconspicuous that we could pull a piece of trim from, unless we pull it out of this room, actually, come to think of it, because especially on the front of this wall, this trim is not actually visible. It's all hidden. It's all obscured behind the curtains completely. That would be the only, and then this room is, what is this room? This room is 17.5 feet wide. So it would fit. It would fit. Yeah. Yeah. Change one room. Change one room, we wouldn't notice. That'd probably be one of the bedrooms or something upstairs. But I want to also try to stay within the footprint of the original project bid. So adding, the more we ask to do to work around this concern, it's going to add to the price. And there's other things I want to spend money on instead of throwing more money into the same project. But what a pain. So yeah, so that's where we're at. We're completely just dead in the water now until we resolve this issue. And I didn't have time. By the time I'm done here, the lumber stores, which largely are like B2B stores, they serve the contractors and stuff. It's not like it's just Home Depot or something. They're going to be closed, so I'm not going to be able to talk to somebody there probably until tomorrow morning. But if I can get it set, maybe they can do a same day delivery. Again, we get these guys back on Wednesday, finish the trim work. Maybe we're painting Thursday, and Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, painting's done, and we can just forge ahead. So that's that. But we'll get there, hopefully before the Halloween party. and hopefully by the weekend, because as we get into next week, I'm going to be busy doing stuff for the Halloween party. I'm not going to be having time to devote to electronics and setup and calibration and all that stuff as well. Because once everything's done, I got to rerun ARC. Like there's a whole bunch of things that need to happen, and I also need to fully validate that the HDMI setup that I have intended is going to work. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to respond to that contingency. So there's still some unknowns, and some time required once the physical work is done and we get to the electronics. Yeah, so that's that. One of the other things that I wanted to just kind of speak on a little bit here was about the AI stuff as well, kind of an informal poll as well, if you've seen it. So I'm curious what you think. Share any thoughts you have. Does it feel it's a waste of time? Is it stupid? Are you finding them enjoyable? Is it funny? Is there some value, at least entertainment value and stuff out of it? So one of the things that I wanted to comment specifically was just kind of the roadmap of what I was doing with this stuff and what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I've done with it, what I'm thinking to do with it, and what I'm not thinking to do with it, which I think is just as important. So I had already been pretty involved in a variety of kind of like AI tinkering to begin with. I think it's no secret that like Techthusiasm is. I have a full-time job. I'm a software development manager. I run a team, an organization really, that develops software tools for engineers and scientists and whatnot. So I'm very well aware of like our need in my regular work that we're building AI features. Excuse me. We're using AI. My developers are using AI to accelerate their work. Everybody is kind of challenged to use AI to accelerate our work and try to find extra value and stuff out of using it to assist and speed things up and find efficiencies and whatnot, as well as delivering AI features or trying to design and conceive of AI features um, uh, for our own stuff. So it's something that I've been messing around with from a technology perspective to begin with. And then I was looking for ways to also kind of continue my learning, continue my experimentation, and think about, how can I use this in service of Techthusiasm and Techthusiasm business? So in my experimentations there, I discovered that I tried it for some like thumbnail generation and stuff, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I think I actually posted one of the generations that I tried for a thumbnail, and it was pretty horrible actually. It was a terrible likeness, and so I'm like, wow, I can make what I think are better thumbnails for my videos than in less time than it would take to try to go through a prompting element to get something out of it for that. So I'm like, forget that. I'll just stick to my own thumbnails. And in a lot of cases, I need actual photos of things, and so um, I use photos of my racks. I use photos of my rooms and stuff, and so feeding that into like an AI engine to say, take this picture and then take my likeness and generate a thumbnail that tries to capture this feeling or vibe or excitement or something. You just get trash. You get a garbled mess out of the other side of that. So that was one of the things that sounded like maybe I could get some really cool graphical stuff going with this, and it just didn't seem to be the case. Or at least I haven't put in enough time to fully develop the experience or aptitude to be able to get that value out of it. And I thought about other stuff, like again, like I really don't need an AI to do any of the kind of like background business stuff that I do. So quoting, invoicing people, working up payment process, like I'm hands-on for all of that stuff. I don't need AI to do that. Um, I don't want or need AI to like write my emails and stuff. I think I'm actually a pretty decent writer if I were to judge myself. Um, I like writing and I like speaking in my own words. So I don't even at work, like a lot of people, especially non-English speakers, like I found tend to use AI to be like, okay, I need to write this thing. So I'm going to write it. I'm going to write a concept and then I'm going to put it in chat GPT or whatever. And it's going to give me the thing that I'm going to actually send to the people on the other end. I don't like doing that. And I don't like reading that either. It's like, I want to know what you had to say. I don't want to know what that engine had to say, interpreting the core concept of what it was you were trying to communicate to me. Just tell me. And so I didn't really care for it for that. I thought about some other things where I could perhaps try to get extra content out of existing content, or get extra value out of existing content by using AI. And so there's ways that I've seen a little bit of, where like you can say take a YouTube video and basically make a blog, a written blog out of it. So take everything, listen to everything that was said in this video, or in a lot of other cases, you get the transcript. Like given the transcript of this video, write it in a tech blog, and then I could take that blog and I could post it on my webpage, and I could get a little bit more value out of a piece of content. So if I make a video like, hey, the top 5 things that I use the MadVR Envy for, and I put all the time and effort and energy to conceive of that video, and I recorded that video, and I spoke to all those points, I demonstrated them, take that transcript, boom, put it into something else that I can publish, and and then do that. But there's a lot of steps. It seems like there's a lot of steps involved doing something like that. And I haven't fully followed through on doing any of that. And I don't know, if anything, it could get some more traffic to the web page, which could be beneficial. Then that also hopefully translates people coming through to the YouTube channel, or coming to me for the integrator side of the business and stuff. So there's that, but I haven't gone full bore. I've also seen some systems available where like you can take a video and you can say, okay, put it in this AI engine and then generate me a bunch of shorts or clips and stuff out of the video. So I've got whatever, a 20-minute, 15-minute long form video about a certain topic, right? Generate me 3 shorts that use, not AI generated, but like cut and assemble something useful. I guess in some ways, maybe in some cases, it could be fully AI generated. Cut and assemble me some shorts and stuff, and then I could put those shorts up, and they would provide some interesting gist or summary of the longer form video. Then, of course, on YouTube, if you publish a short on YouTube that is essentially a tease or a lighter version of a piece of longer form content, YouTube nicely lets you link that short to the longer form content. And so that's actually pretty cool, because then you can make a summary teaser, put it out there alongside the regular video, and maybe that funnels some more folks to your content, right? The whole idea of this is wanting to kind of grow the footprint and have people engage more with the content that we're making. The worst thing is to make something, put it out there, and then it doesn't go, or nobody watches it. And it's like, okay, there's a lot of effort and energy. I put a lot of myself. I tried to make something useful and interesting and valuable, and the more value it provides, the better that feels, the nicer it is. But I haven't gone to mess around with that. So anyway, so long story short, the other week, I saw that OpenAI had launched this Sora 2, the second version of their Sora tool. And so I guess Sora has been around for a little while. It's not a tool that I had ever interacted with before, but I saw very quickly that like people were really kind of surprised and impressed by what Sora 2 was doing, the kind of output that we were getting, the quality, and a couple of the functional elements of it, particularly like what they call this cameo element, which is what allows you to kind of insert yourself specifically into the AI generated content. So I'm like, wow, this seems kind of neat. I want to just check this out. I'm curious what it's all about. So Sora 2 is not open to the public, or still right now. It wasn't on its initial launch. I don't know how they did this or how they decided, but like a whole bunch of initial access codes went out to people to be able to register within an OpenAI account. You could open access to the Sora 2 tool. If you're a paid member, a paid subscriber with OpenAI, you had access to it, I think, already. But that's for a pro user. Like an OpenAI Pro subscription, I think, is like $200 a month. And a lot of these AI systems as well, they work on subscriptions. And so the more you pay, the higher tier you subscribe to, the more powerful features that you're able to leverage. And then even in conjunction with that, you get like a certain number of credits with your subscription. The higher your subscription tier, the more credits you get. Then any generation that you do or any interaction that you have with the tool to create something burns your credits. And so you spend credits to create something. So Sora 2 right now is as long as you had a code, you could get in. There's no credit system. It's free. Um, there's a couple limitations. The resolution is a little limited for this free version. It's like 720p resolution. Um, initially, you could only generate videos of 10 seconds. Couldn't go longer than 10 seconds, and you got like 30 generations a day, and you could queue like 2 at a time. They're starting to expand it already. Just this past week, I think, or maybe before the weekend, going into the weekend, they updated it a little bit. So now you can do 15-second videos and you can queue 3 into the queue at the same time, but you still are limited to like 30 generations in a 24-hour period. So I was looking at it, and my son and I were kind of playing around. It's like, okay, let's throw some stuff in here and see what you can get. And part of setting up your account, so let me say, I was able to get an access code. So I kind of sleuthed around. People were sharing them on Reddits and Discords, and anybody that's able to register to get access to it, as I understand it, can generate like 4 codes. And so it's kind of like mushrooming. It's growing bigger, the footprint of the users and stuff like that. And I think they may have some of their own aspirations to like make Sora be its own social media platform. It's whatever. I don't really care a whole lot about that. I really only focus my social media efforts right now around YouTube. I'm probably giving up opportunity by not cross posting more and developing Instagram and TikTok and all this other stuff in parallel. But I only have so much time, and I'd rather try to do YouTube really well than just blanket everything across social media with something with more substandard content or value. So it's one of the things that I actually want to get my kids kind of skilled up on, because if I could help employ them to basically help to expand the social media footprint of the channel, that would be cool. But I just have limited time and I have to pick and choose how I spend it. So anyway, I got the code. I was able to get a code that was being shared, and I was able to log in. So my son and I started playing around with it. And the first thing you do when you register on Sora is to create your cameo, which is the image of yourself that the AI is going to use. You basically use your phone. You look at your phone camera, kind of gets a scan of your face. You turn your head up and down, whatever, to the side, and then you say 3 numbers. It was three two-digit numbers: 26, 34, 78, whatever. And then that's all the input that it takes. It builds this cameo. And so when I was doing it, I actually had I had a Marvel shirt on, and it was catching, I think, a little bit of the Marvel logo. And it's like, oh, I can't do that. It's like, well, all right, I'll put one of my Techthusiasm shirts on, and I'll make sure to hold my camera out far enough so that it saw that, okay, I was wearing this red shirt, and it said Techthusiasm on it. So that was in the image, wondering if that would translate through into the cameo. And if you watched any of the shorts, it did. Although, I don't know if this was me, if there was actually, I don't remember if there's actually an option to reverse the camera. But when it renders the imagery, the Techthusiasm is always written backwards. And so, that's the selfie camera is the backwards camera. If the image needed to be flipped, or if there was even an option to flip it in the cameo, I don't know. But I kind of left it that way because I think it's like, to me, it was like, I think it makes it extra funny. It's extra kind of goofy, and it's part and parcel with the idea that this is like fake, right? It's not full on legit. So as we played around and we just kind of made some stuff, we were just kind of fooling around, and saw like, this is actually pretty impressive. Like, there's a lot of mush, and there's a lot of poor output as well. I guess it still has a lot to learn or whatever. And sometimes I come out chunky, sometimes I come out thinner, sometimes I come out a little more muscly, sometimes not. Sometimes I have a little more hair, sometimes I have a little less hair. There's always detractors every once in a while in the comments that love to point out that my hair is thin. It's like, okay, great. I don't know why you felt the need to say that. I know that it is, but whatever. But it's like a really powerful tool, and a lot of times the cameos are pretty decently solid. Like, I had kind of the same level of growth, I think, when I did the cameo in terms of facial hair, and it largely preserves that. But again, sometimes the facial hair is a little thicker, sometimes a little thinner. Sometimes it looks like, sometimes you come out looking really poor, but that's pretty rare. A lot of times it makes a pretty decent image anyway. And so I was thinking about, well, what do I want to do with this? If I have this tool at my disposal, what do I actually want to do with this? And initially the thought, um, the thought that I crossed off right away is like, I don't want to try to make real content with this. And it kind of goes back to the idea that like I don't want an AI to write for me. Why would I want an AI to try to make a serious video for me? And because of the stuff that I talk about, like if I wanted to have a video about a certain feature in Kaleidoscape or a menu setting, like there's no way to get, at least right now anyway, there's no feasible way to get an AI to do that like fully accurately with the right footage of the right thing and the screen and all that. It'd be even tried to even try to do it would be a nightmare. Um, a frustrated nightmare of trying to get like the right output. That's like there's no reason for an AI to do this, and I should be the one doing this anyway. I want to speak with my own words. I want to be the one showing this thing, and I want to show the real thing, not the AI stuff. So that's what led me to think, well, maybe I can do something more funny, more interesting, something comedic or whatever with this. And so that led to us kind of playing around, and it led to like creating the podcast intro for last week, and I did another one. Um, Obviously that played when this started. I thought those were clever, and I thought they're fun. I thought that was a more interesting way to kind of do a countdown, collect some people in the room and stuff, than to just see some numeric graphics, a little numeric graphic video kind of counting down. Um, I thought it was cute. And then it's like, well, shoot, if we can make some funny stuff that is in the vein of the real content, but then point to the real content, maybe that's there. And so I like corny humor. I like, um, you know, um, Saturday Night Live style skit stuff, although it's been a long time probably since I think the popular joke is, right, depending on particular maybe depending on your political stances or whatnot, it might have be a long time since Saturday Night Live was actually funny. But, I grew up in the days where we had Chris Farley and Adam Sandler and those guys on Saturday Night Live. I'm a classic Saturday Night Live fan from a certain era, and even before that, like Dana Carr, like a lot of those guys, that kind of comedy, I always loved it. So I kind of was seeing it as like, let's make some skits. Like nobody else is doing something like this. It would be almost impossible to do some of the stuff that I was doing in the AI skit if I even tried to do it in real life. And so anyway, I thought we could try to have I thought we could try to have some fun with it. So I put that stuff up. We made some goofy stuff. We made some other things that I haven't published yet. So in terms of like, what are the things then am I not doing with AI? I'm not making real content with it. Um, I'm not looking to replace the serious tone and intent and methodology and value proposition and all of that stuff of the channel. I was just looking to have some fun with it. And there was an interesting comment in one of the videos as well, one of the AI videos that they call it kind of AI slop, which in some ways sometimes it kind of is. Sometimes it actually is pretty impressive. Sometimes it's kind of sloppy. But it was an interesting challenge about specifically, and I think this goes to Terminator's content as well, which is saw what those videos were, instantly backed out. And I completely get that in this comment as well. No offense to you, don't support AI. And I have to admit, even in my own like personal perspective, I'm like, do I want to be using this? I was talking with my wife a lot about it because I think she kind of falls more on this side. She doesn't do slapstick humor so much. Um, it's just kind of not her thing. And so that wasn't appealing to her. But then like there are ramifications to AI. And I want to say that I listen and follow and read a lot of content, discussion around the AI space. And so, I wouldn't even want to be using AI to try to make real legit content, because why would I don't want to train it to do that. So in some respects, it's like if I'm using this AI system to make just the goofy stuff and have some fun with it, try to get some laughs and make like home theater, electronic, topical Saturday Night Live style skit humor, that AI engine is learning nothing useful from me, um, about these topics and or anything. Because if it takes anything that I'm sending in about this hobby and in its details, like it's not helping it. It's not helping it get any smarter. I'm dumbing it down. So, but still, I respect, like, it's crazy when you think about the pace of technology, how things are changing, and kind of the direction things are going. And again, I listen to a lot of long discussions about, where are we going to be like in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And you listen to some prognostication that, like, how many percent of jobs and things are going to be irrelevant in, like, in 10 years. And then we're talking about nowadays, like, embedding tech and tech replacing physical. There's actually a really, really interesting Joe Rogan talk, with, I think it was just from a couple weeks ago. I just finished it the other day. Greg Braden was the guy's name, about kind of like some existential, religious slash, like, uh technogarchy type stuff. And so when I say, like, to go back to Terminator's comment, like, I think about all this stuff on a very, very profound level as well, and debate, what is this? So, and what is the future going to be? What role do I want to play in it? And so I like to see technology as no more than a tool. And I'm, in some ways, I'm a bit of a Luddite up to a certain level as well. Even like VR and in fake worlds and stuff. Like, I never got into it, and I don't think I see the value. I tried the Apple Vision thing, and um, I would rather be in the real world, sitting next to my son on the couch playing a video game that we're both looking at and interacting. I don't want to be away, um, in my own fake virtual world, and I don't need to be immersed hours a day and lost in some online scape, and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, so I get it. There's ramifications, there's deeper messages and meanings in all this stuff. And so, but when I use AI, I try to use it as a tool. I try to use it for something interesting. Um, I will say that for a lot of my, like, for me personally, like web surfing, asking questions and stuff, um, the AI answers are really, really can be very useful in interacting, trying to get deeper into a topic. It can be useful again. And in this case, I was just looking for entertainment value. And so, and I think I hit on something again that is unique, that nobody else is doing. So, as you saw from the stuff that I published, basically, I was making kind of AI skits, AI generated skits that led into specific parts of the vlog. Okay, we need to clear the room at gear. Well, let's make a funny video where we're throwing the TV and the speakers out the window into the yard, right? Or it's time for demolition. Boom, let's jump through the wall and blast the wall out, stuff. Like, I couldn't do something like that. But with this platform and this Cameo thing, like, we can do some goofy stuff. The one I put out on Sunday, or just yesterday, about doing the insulation, and my daughter came up, she's like, do snow angels in the insulation. That would be pretty funny. So yeah, or the wiring as well. So I was again, it's been fun. It's been fun kind of messing around with this with my kids. Do the wiring one. I think my daughter had the idea, or not had the idea, of like swinging on the cables or whatever. Might have been her as well. She's funny. To do like the rodeo thing with the cables and stuff. And I have another one in the kitty. I haven't published it yet. I'll probably be the next one that I publish. But fundamentally, what I did with it is, like, let's make up fake home theater products, right? And so what I was trying to envision is, like, what are the memes? What are the memes in home theater? And let's make some funny skit content, comedy content and stuff about that. And again, if I can make something that points to something going on in the regular content, I thought that that was kind of interesting and topical. But again, but I wanted to keep it to shorts. So I wasn't looking to use AI content to replace any real content, long form content discussion. I definitely don't want to try to use AI to represent or touch material about any, like, any specific, like, brand, definitive brand or anything like that. I think I would actually, even if I were going to do that, I would probably need to go seek certain permissions and stuff. So there will be no AI videos about any specific element or brand of home theater. It will be kind of like it'll just kind of be nonsense. But keep it to shorts, try to generate some extra views. And I have to say that it did that. Like, one of those, and I don't think it was the most funny one, unfortunately, but one of those shot up to like 30,000 something views, I think now, in the shorts, which crushes the views that most of my shorts get, or even in any of the videos for that matter. So again, if it's trying to use something unique to generate some stuff, I'm gonna continue to experiment with it, and we'll see where it goes. But I don't want to inundate the channel with it. I don't want to overflow the channel with it. I don't want to replace stuff. I'm not using it to replace me, or my engagement with you. But if I can make, I figured if I can make some supplemental things about it, that's what I was looking to do. And so, but I get it. If like it's not some people's things, that's cool. Um, by and large, I would think if you're not into that kind of stuff, you're probably not even watching shorts to begin with. You're probably sticking to long form videos. And so again, it felt keeping it as shorts felt like it kept it relegated. And maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll cross post some of that to TikTok or whatever. But we'll see where it goes. But I thought there was some laughs. I mean, when we were making stuff, me and my son, gosh, I was belly laughing so hard my abs were sore later that night, and we were crying, like literally tears at some of the stuff when it came out, and we were playing around and experimenting, and so that's that anyway. So if anybody has some more thoughts on it, feel free to share. I'm curious what folks may have to say or think. So let's head through some of these comments, and we'll probably start wrapping up here. So some new names. Welcome to the newer folks here. RILN. Hey man, new here. Happy to see someone having fun streaming, having interaction. Yep, thank you. So yeah, now I've been pretty consistent. This is welcome to the channel. The channel is a lot about home theater concepts, maximizing your systems. I vlog all kinds of information about what I do in my own spaces, between the dedicated room that I'm sitting in right now, my living room system upstairs, which is in the middle, of course, of this massive project. So here's, you can tell yourself a little bit for newbies. So here, elevator pitch. I'm almost 50. I've been in technology since the late 90s. I'm an engineer by trade. As I mentioned, I'm a software developer, worked with software hardware for 25 plus years now. I manage a very large development organization for technical computing software company. Always been into electronics, home theater, video games, movies, all this kind of stuff. Started the YouTube channel in mid 2021. Been working on it since. Niched down pretty well into the home theater specific topics from general tech, and then grown up a business around the channel here as well. So people were coming to me for advice and guidance and consulting. Started doing more and more of that. Now I'm an integrator. So Techthusiasm is a full integration business as well. I can sell and access, support a variety of brands. A lot of the stuff that I like: Kaleidoscape, JVC, Focal, SVS, Stewart, Seymour, Denon, Marantz, Snap brands like Wattbox, Strong Racks. I'm leaving so much out. I can access NAD. I have other access. I'm a MadVR certified product specialist. So and more. So really grown up a business element around the channel as well. But I just love this stuff. I do it with kind of a solo personality, I guess, on the channel. My kids are involved a lot in the background as well. Have a lot of fun doing this, engaging, and just pushing everything along forward. So yeah, I guess that's that. Julius saying, enjoy the AI videos. It's all fun. Definitely grabs your attention. Yeah, I think again, I think the memes for the fake products will be pretty funny. I've got one ready to go, and was playing around with another, and it's interesting. It's interesting where this tech is gonna take us. So Marco's saying, oh, when I buy a 4K or Blu-ray, basically saying he doesn't like he has a Kaleidoscape, but he doesn't like seeing the Rotten Tomatoes ratings there. Yeah, saying your AI videos are funny. Cool, I appreciate that. I would say that by and large, the comments were more positive than negative. Like people, including like a number of folks that I recognize around the channel and around kind of like the home theater online community, were posting, the smiley face with the tears coming out of the eyes, laughing, a lot of laugh out louds and stuff like that. So I think a lot of folks were appreciating the stuff for what it was and or what I was intending it to be. And again, I'm not looking to overwhelm, inundate. I don't want to cheapen the channel, but I thought I was keying into something unique. There's not. We're kind of all nerds, and there's not really like geeks or whatever. The better form of that word is, the cooler form of that word is. There's not a lot of like comedy in this niche, and so I thought I could bring some levity and bring some smiles and some laughs to folks that might get it. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that watch those videos and they're like, "What the heck is this?" And like, why is this even funny? But if you know, you know. So, all right, we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute. Here, excuse me, tongue tie. RILN. What's your take on sim racing? I've never really been much of a sim racer. I played my fair share over the years of like Gran Turismo and Forza, but I've never felt. I've owned a couple of wheels. I think once or twice in some video game generations, I've had a wheel, but I've never gone full bore to like set up any kind of sim infrastructure systems, hardware systems, and stuff around me, whether for either racing or flight. I know some folks that are into that stuff. Actually, one of the Anthem guys, and I think he had his rig at Cedia, if I recall correctly. He's big into that stuff, like big moving, shaking type system and all that. But when it comes to video games, I tend to play more action-oriented stuff, third person, first person, shooters, fantasy. Historically, I'd say I used to play a lot of role-playing games, not so much anymore because of just the time commitments and allotments. So nowadays, fighters, big Street Fighter fan from back in the day. Nowadays, I tend to just play more actiony games and stuff like that. If I think of the last few video games that I played, it's been Spider-Man. It's been what do we play? Ratchet and Clank, and then just some other beat 'em ups. Played the Teenage Mutant Turtle games. I think the new Marvel game actually on Steam has a beta right now, the Cosmic Alliance beat 'em up, and I think there's a He-Man Masters of the Universe beat 'em up coming soon as well. So we're going to be playing those. We're going to be playing those real soon. Rio, welcome. Rio's my name. Sorry for the random letters. Wow, lots of new names. What's your 30-second take on AI 2027? So I don't know if you joined, Ron, but I did. If you go back to like the 30-minute mark, I kind of gave I gave a long form AI perspective because as mentioned, I've been doing some AI video generation and stuff like that. It's been in the shorts where I've kind of been relegating it to. And here, I'll do this one. Let's give a little teaser since we're here. I think this will work. Yeah, let's try this. So I don't want to copy. I don't want to copy. I want to present. Share screen, window. To share audio, share a tab instead. Oh, can I not? I feel like this may not work.
Okay, guys, get ready for this. I have found the most amazing ways to improve the quality of the sound and image in my home theater setup. This little black box right here, it's called the quantum acoustosphere, and it's supposed to realign the magnetic field of your audio
Let me know
so
if the sound isn't coming through.
Flow more naturally. Yeah, sounds wild, but I had to try it.
I just realigned the magnetic field on my whole audio chain and I am floored. I mean, instantly, the room opened up. It was like pulling a thick comforter off the speakers. The soundstage snapped into focus, everything locked in. All I did was twist that alignment knob so the field sat right at 0, and boom, it's like the entire system took a deep breath. Listen to that woofer.
Sorry, I cracked myself up. The acoustic magnetosphere.
Everyone needs to get a hold of a quantum acoustosphere.
Quantum acoustosphere.
This thing is next level, and I am beyond pumped about it. I'm telling you, the moment you hear what it can do, you won't want to be without one. And the price, only $5,000. That is a tiny drop in the bucket.
So there you go. The quantum acoustosphere. makes your all your magnetizes the signals of your audio system for better quality. I thought that was kind of clever and funny. So I may post that one next, but so yeah, 30-second take on AI. I think we need to be very careful with it. I'm not using it, definitively not using it for certain things, but just trying to have some fun and learn a little bit at the same time. Well, Alberto Rivas, do you work with Control 4? I do use Control 4 in my setup here. And I have a bunch of content. It's been a while since I've made any Control 4 content, actually, though, to be honest. I think the last stuff that I might have made was more about the Halo remotes and then the software update, the big software update overhaul that they got. I'm overdue to play around with the X4 update and particularly the Apple integration, the X4 Control 4 Apple integration that I believe works a lot deeper now and is better. So it's on the list. It's on the list of things to get to, but it's not bubbling towards the top. As again, this living room project is the priority right now. I've got a super secret thing that I've already kind of teased, but to what extent and what's going to happen is still a little bit TBD. So that will be a conversation in its own right when that comes to pass. But I do want to get that into action soon. Again, I'm going to be planning for a mid-November kind of open house meetup opportunity, and then I want to also get back to the screen debate and maybe swapping this home theater screen out for 17.9. And I've been doing a lot. Back just this last couple of days, I've been doing more with like the family photo management, some of like the background family IT tech infrastructure. And I think I'm real close to pulling out my Synology and switching over to the Ubiquity NAS as some of the things that I'm using the Synology for are features that I may not need. So that all of those things may transpire here still before the end of the year. But we'll see where it goes. But I've got a doozy, and there's some big news coming soon as I work out the details, particular elements and stuff like that. So if you saw my teaser, you at least know what it involves. So we'll have a whole dedicated Monday to talk about that when the time comes. All right, I'm going to call it a day. My son is waiting upstairs. The Marvel Champions Civil War expansion was delivered today, so we have some superheroing to do. Not on the TV because the TV's not hanging. Marvel Champions is a card game. Love it. I would highly recommend checking it out. We have a lot of fun with that. So we got some deck theory crafting and deck building to do, and some of that. Got to get some dinner going here. And there's one other thing that I was going to say, and it's escaping me now. So, well, stay tuned. Again, we got work started again. Maybe we'll have gear going in by this weekend. I really want to try to get it done. Oh, I was going to comment. I think some of the names that we're seeing, I'm curious actually if you guys are still here. Marco, Rio, if I'm saying this right, Walberto. I have had a massive amount of Spanish speaking comments coming through on videos. It's a crazy anomaly, and it's been only within the last week. And it's very specifically a bunch of not my non-AI, but some of my earlier shorts that are that have really flown on the channel to be like millions of views and hundreds of thousands of views, where we were pulling the film off of the TVs and stuff that we were installing. And I swear, I don't know what happened, but YouTube decided that I don't know where these are coming from as well, if it's Latin America or something, just Mexico, South America. But I don't know if these are bots. I don't know if these are real people. But there's a crazy amount of Spanish speaking comments coming through. So if there's if somehow Techthusiasm is finding a whole new audience in South America, Mexico, etc., welcome everybody. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody taking the time for the comments. Historically, when I had a non-English speaking comment, I would do my best. I would copy the comment, I would paste it into Google Translate, and then I would read it, and then I would write a response, and I would have that response translated to whatever the native language was, and I would post the native language response. And I have not been able to keep up with the crazy flow of Spanish comments that are coming in. So that was something that I did for a long time, or I have done for a long time, and I still do try to do, because I think it's kind of fun and interesting to interact with folks that are, outside the US. Of course, YouTube gives a global reach, so there's quite a few viewers watching content from outside of the US and non-English speakers and stuff as well. And I thought that was like a respectful way to reply and engage with people. But it's wild. Like I don't know where it's coming from, but it's literally just been within like the last week. I'd wake up and look, and it'd be like dozens of comments, all in Spanish. It was wild. All right. Last comments, and then we're going to go here. Marco, is it true MadVR automatically changes aspect ratio? It does. MadVR does a lot of really cool stuff. I have a video. I have quite a few videos. If you look on the channel, there's a playlist that I call video processors that has all of my MadVR content in it. I've been using a MadVR NV Extreme Mark II in here for a while. It's been over a year, I think now. And I'm doing aspect ratio management. I have a lens. I'm doing geometry correction. I have a 3D LUT calibration in the thing. Of course, use it for HDR tone mapping. I use Motion AI and stuff like that. So changing aspect ratio management is an awesome feature of a video processor and MadVR in particular. And then Alberto saying, seen a lot of new hi-fi and theater channels in Spanish popping up recently as well. Been following you for a while. So maybe that's part of it. I wonder, I guess maybe there's a bit of a resurgence or new surgence, new interest happening. And some creators are going, that's creating an audience or whatnot. But yeah, it was definitely an anomaly, but it continues to continue. So pretty cool. The concept of reaching people, hopefully making some people smile, sharing the hobby, providing information, and all that stuff is the whole reason to do all of this. So, all right, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks everybody for coming out. A couple fun topics today. We'll see what's going on next week. What the topic will be. Hopefully next week the project is done and I'm listening to some Utopia audio in the living room. If not, we'll see. And some of the other agendas that are happening in the background will be moving forward as well. So thanks everybody for coming out. If I can help you, where is it? Where is my banner? Yeah, there it is. If I can help you, of course, with any of your upgrades, options, choices, advice, consulting, whatever, check out the webpage, www.techthusiasm.com. Email me, jeremy@techthusiasm.net, Jeremy with an A, but although the other one works as well. Happy to help, consult, advise, and again, I can help provide access to dozens of awesome home theater brands, many of which I use in my own systems and sell because I like them. I offer them because I like them very much so. So thanks everybody for coming out, coming back from a home theater discussion and fun. Have a good one.